"You're really going to marry him?" her stepmother asked with a cold laugh. "People say he lives in the mountains with nothing but an old wooden house. His family can barely survive." "I've already made my choice," Ava said quietly. "You'll regret it," her younger stepsister, Chloe, said with a proud smile. "Everyone knows Ethan belongs with me. Why would I let you marry a rich man while you marry a nobody?" Their father rubbed his forehead. "Enough. The marriage promise was made years ago. Someone from this family must honor it." Chloe quickly stepped forward. "Then let Ava go. The agreement only says a daughter from the Carter family. It never says which one." Silence filled the room. Their father slowly looked at Ava. "You heard your sister. What do you say?" Ava looked around the house where she had never truly belonged. After her mother died, every smile disappeared. Every meal felt lonely. Every day reminded her that she was only tolerated, never loved. At last, she nodded. "I'll marry him." Both her father and stepmother froze. You're serious?" "Yes. You don't even know him." "I know enough." She took a slow breath. "But I have two conditions." "What are they?" her father asked quickly. "My mother's necklace belongs to me. Give it back." Her stepmother rolled her eyes but pulled the necklace from her own neck and tossed it across the table. "Take this old thing." Ava caught it gently. "The second condition," she said, "is that after today, I am no longer part of this family." No one tried to stop her. No one even thanked her. She turned, walked out the front door, and never looked back. The long road to Pine Valley was quiet. Tall trees covered both sides of the narrow path. The fresh air smelled of rain and flowers instead of smoke and expensive perfume. When the road became too rough for a car, an old pickup stopped beside her. An elderly woman climbed down with a bright smile. "You must be Ava." "Yes. I'm Martha, Ethan's mother." The woman reached out and warmly held Ava's hands. "My son couldn't come because he was working. He asked me to bring you home." Ava smiled politely. "It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet my daughter-in-law." The words made Ava blink. No one had called her family with such kindness before. During the drive, Martha pointed happily at the farms, rivers, and green hills around them. She talked about the village with so much love that Ava found herself smiling without knowing why. Soon they stopped in front of a simple farmhouse. It was old but clean. Flowers grew beside the front steps. Fresh bread cooled on the window. Laughter drifted from the backyard. "It isn't much," Martha said, "but I hope you'll feel at home." Before Ava could answer, a deep voice came from outside. "Mom, I'm back." A tall young man walked into the yard carrying several heavy boxes as though they weighed nothing. When he looked up, his eyes met Ava's. He stopped for a second. Then he smiled. "I'm sorry I couldn't come and pick you up." His voice was calm and warm. "I'm Ethan." Ava had expected someone rough and ordinary. Instead, the man standing before her looked confident, kind, and surprisingly handsome. For the first time since leaving her old home, she wondered if walking away had not been the end of her life, but the beginning of something far better. Subscribe to Varry Stories now and enjoy the journey ahead. The smell of fresh bread still filled the air as Ava stood quietly in the front yard. For a long moment, no one spoke. The soft wind moved through the trees, carrying the sound of birds singing in the distance. It was peaceful, so peaceful that it almost felt strange. Back at the Carter house, silence usually meant someone was angry. Here, silence felt warm. Ethan set the heavy boxes on the ground and walked toward her with an easy smile. "I'm sorry I couldn't come to meet you," he said. "The workers needed help before sunset." "It's all right," Ava replied. "Your mother came for me. I'm glad she found you safely." His voice was calm and gentle. There was no pride in it. No sign that he was trying to impress her. He simply spoke with kindness. Martha clapped her hands together. "You two can talk later. Dinner is almost ready." She led them inside. The farmhouse looked simple from the outside, but it was neat and spotless inside. Fresh flowers sat on the wooden table. Family photos covered one wall. Every picture showed smiling faces. Ava couldn't remember the last time she had seen a family smiling together. She slowly sat down. Within minutes, Martha placed bowl after bowl on the table. Hot chicken soup, fresh vegetables, steamed rice, roasted fish, warm bread. "I'm afraid it isn't much," Martha said with an apologetic smile. Ava looked at the table in surprise. "This is more than enough." Martha laughed. "You'll hurt my feelings if you eat so little." Ethan pulled out a chair for Ava before taking his own seat. "You've traveled all day," he said. Eat first. We can talk later. Ava nodded softly. As she lifted the spoon, she noticed both Ethan and Martha waiting. Aren't you eating? She asked. We were waiting for you, Martha replied. Ava froze. No one had ever waited for her before. At the Carter house, she was always the last to eat. Sometimes there was hardly anything left by the time she reached the table. She lowered her head and quietly took her first spoonful. The soup was rich and warm. For some reason, her eyes suddenly became wet. Martha noticed immediately. Child, is it too salty? Ava quickly shook her head. No. Then what's wrong? She forced a small smile. It's just delicious. Martha smiled with relief. I'm happy you like it. The rest of the meal passed with easy conversation. Martha talked about the village. She spoke about the coming harvest, the spring festival, and the children who liked chasing butterflies through the fields. Ethan listened more than he spoke, but every now and then he added something that made his mother laugh. Watching them together made Ava's heart ache. This was what a real family looked like. No shouting, no insults, no pretending, only warmth. When dinner ended, Ava quietly gathered the empty bowls. I'll wash these. Martha immediately stopped her. No, I should help. You've been on the road all day. I'm not tired. Martha smiled kindly. You'll have plenty of chances to help after the wedding. She gently took the bowls from Ava's hands. But tonight, you are family. Those 3 words hit Ava harder than she expected. Family. She had almost forgotten what that word was supposed to feel like. Unable to stop herself, she whispered, Thank you. Later that evening, the sky slowly turned dark. Thousands of stars appeared above the village. There were no bright city lights here to hide them. The night looked endless. Unable to sleep, Ava stepped outside. The cool breeze brushed against her face. She closed her eyes. For the first time in years, her heart felt light. You can't sleep either? She turned. Ethan stood a few steps away holding 2 cups of warm tea. I thought this might help. He handed one to her. Thank you. They stood side by side without speaking. Neither of them seemed uncomfortable. After several quiet minutes, Ethan finally asked, Do you miss your home? Ava stared into the dark fields ahead. No. Her answer came so quickly that even she surprised herself. I don't. Ethan looked at her, but didn't interrupt. She slowly continued. My mother passed away when I was 12. My father changed after that. He became busy with work. Then he married again. She smiled bitterly. From that day on, I was never really his daughter anymore. She spoke softly, almost as if she were telling someone else's story. My stepmother always found fault with everything I did. If breakfast was late, it was my fault. If dinner wasn't perfect, it was my fault. If my sister cried, it was somehow my fault too. Ethan quietly listened. Not once did he interrupt. Not once did he judge. The strange thing is, Ava looked up at the stars. I kept believing that if I worked harder, if I became better, if I stayed quiet, they would finally love me. A small laugh escaped her lips. I was foolish. Ethan slowly shook his head. No, you were kind. She looked at him. There's a difference. His calm voice carried surprising strength. Kind people always believe others will change. But not everyone deserves that kindness. Ava felt something inside her begin to loosen. No one had ever understood her so easily. No one had ever said those words to her before. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. The cool night air wrapped around them as they stood beneath the stars. Neither of them spoke for a while. They did not need to. The quiet itself felt comforting. Ava held the warm cup in both hands, letting the heat chase away the evening chill. She had spent so many years hiding her feelings that speaking honestly now felt almost strange. Ethan finally broke the silence. My mother told me what happened today. Ava looked down. I'm sorry. He frowned. For what? For bringing trouble to your family. You left your own family behind because of a promise that wasn't even your fault. If anyone should apologize, it isn't you. She looked at him in surprise. He continued calmly. I don't know everything you've been through, but I do know one thing. What? As long as you're here, no one will force you to live the way you lived before. His words were simple. He did not raise his voice. He did not make a grand promise. Yet somehow, they carried more weight than anything she had ever heard. Ava felt her eyes becoming wet again. She quickly turned away. I've cried too much today. Ethan smiled. Then don't cry anymore. At that moment, the front door opened. There you two are, Martha called happily. I was wondering where you disappeared to. She walked toward them carrying a small wooden box wrapped in a clean white cloth. I almost forgot. She gently placed the box into Ava's hands. This belonged to Ethan's grandmother. Ava looked confused. I can't take this. Open it first. Slowly, Ava untied the cloth. Inside lay a beautiful jade bracelet. Even under the moonlight, it shone with a soft green glow. It looked old, yet perfectly cared for. Ava could tell at once that it was valuable. It's beautiful, she whispered. Martha nodded. Ethan's grandmother wore it for more than 40 years. Before she passed away, she told me to give it to the woman who truly became part of this family. Ava quickly closed the box. No, I can't accept something so precious. Martha gently pushed it back toward her. You already accepted our family. Now let our family accept you. Those words reached deep into Ava's heart. All her life, she had fought for love that was never given. Yet here, people she had known for only a few hours were giving it freely. With trembling hands, she slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. It fit perfectly. Martha smiled brightly. See? It was waiting for you all along. Even Ethan nodded with quiet approval. It looks like it belongs there. Ava looked at the bracelet for a long moment. Then she silently made a promise. No matter what happened, she would protect this family just as they had protected her. At the same time, across the city, bright lights filled the Carter mansion. Laughter echoed through the dining room. Chloe happily admired the expensive engagement gifts that had been delivered by the Shao family. I knew choosing Jason was the right decision, she said proudly. He comes from one of the richest families in the city. Her mother smiled with satisfaction. Of course, unlike Ava, you know how to make smart choices. The two women laughed together. Mr. Carter quietly drank his tea without saying a word. Chloe glanced toward the empty chair where Ava had always sat. I wonder how she's doing now. Her mother laughed again. Probably feeding chickens. Or cleaning pig pens. The room burst into laughter. Mr. Carter finally spoke. Enough. Although his voice sounded calm, there was a hint of discomfort. She's still your sister. Chloe shrugged. She chose that life. No one forced her. Her mother nodded. Exactly. If she had stayed obedient, she could still be living comfortably here. Mr. Carter looked toward the window. For just a second, a small feeling of guilt crossed his face. But it disappeared as quickly as it came. I only hope she doesn't embarrass the Carter family. Chloe smiled confidently. Don't worry. A poor farmer could never become important. Even if she begged to come back one day, I wouldn't let her. Neither of them knew that the family they laughed at was hiding a secret worth far more than the wealth of the Shao family. And neither of them imagined that the quiet young farmer they looked down on had built something far greater than anyone in the city could guess. Their laughter continued late into the night. Far away, in the peaceful village, Ava stood outside the farmhouse one last time before going to bed. She looked up at the sky. The stars seemed brighter than ever. She gently touched the jade bracelet on her wrist. For the first time in many years, she felt safe. She did not know that this quiet village would soon become the center of a battle between pride and humility, between lies and truth, and between those who measured people by money, and those whose true wealth could never be seen at first glance. Morning sunlight slipped through the window and landed softly across Ava's face. She slowly opened her eyes. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she saw the simple wooden ceiling, the fresh flowers on the table beside her bed, and the jade bracelet resting on her wrist. A small smile appeared on her face. Yesterday had not been a dream. A gentle knock came from the door. Ava, are you awake? Martha called. Breakfast is ready. I'm coming. Ava quickly changed into a simple dress and walked outside. The smell of steamed buns and warm porridge filled the house. Martha was placing bowls on the table while Ethan carried a basket of fresh fruit through the front door. Good morning, he said with a smile. Good morning. You slept well. I did. I'm glad. Their conversation was short, but it felt natural. There was no awkward silence. No pressure. Only quiet comfort. As they sat down to eat, Martha looked at Ava with gentle eyes. After breakfast, Ethan is going into the village. Why don't you go with him? Ava looked at Ethan. Would I be in the way? He shook his head. Not at all. I'd like to show you around. Martha laughed happily. Good. You've only seen our house. You haven't seen your new home yet. After breakfast, Ethan brought out an old electric tricycle. Ava couldn't help smiling. You really like this little tricycle? Ethan laughed. It may not look special, but it's very useful. It can go almost anywhere. He opened the small passenger seat beside him. Come on. I'll drive slowly. Ava climbed in carefully. As the tricycle rolled down the narrow village road, a cool breeze brushed against her face. The mountains stood tall in the distance. Golden fields stretched as far as she could see. Children chased each other beside the road, laughing as they ran. Several elderly villagers waved the moment they saw Ethan. Morning, Ethan. Morning. Is this your wife? Ethan smiled proudly. Yes. The villagers looked at Ava with warm smiles. She's beautiful. You two make a wonderful couple. When is the wedding? Ava's face became red. She lowered her head shyly. Ethan noticed, but said nothing. Instead, he quietly slowed the tricycle so the ride would be more comfortable. That small action did not escape Ava's eyes. He always noticed the little things. As they continued, they passed wide green fields filled with healthy crops. Farm workers greeted Ethan with respect. Morning, Boss Ethan. Good morning. Did the new machines arrive? They'll be here before noon. We'll prepare everything. Ava blinked. She looked toward Ethan. They called you boss. He smiled casually. I just help manage a few things. A few things. The farms are large. Someone has to keep everything organized. Before Ava could ask another question, they reached a large orchard. Rows of apple and peach trees covered the hills. Workers carefully picked fresh fruit and loaded it into waiting trucks. Every truck carried the same company logo. Ava quietly noticed it. She had seen that logo before. It belonged to one of the biggest food companies in the province. She looked at Ethan again. I thought you sold fruit at the local market. We do. He answered honestly. But we also supply several companies. Ava slowly nodded. So that's why everyone knows you. He simply smiled. He never tried to show off. The more she learned about him, the more mysterious he became. The tricycle continued along another road until they reached a beautiful lake. Hundreds of fishing boats floated peacefully on the water. Workers unloaded baskets filled with fresh fish and shrimp. Several large refrigerated trucks waited nearby. Ava stared in surprise. This is all yours. Our family's partners help manage it. We simply work together. His answer sounded so ordinary that Ava almost laughed. Anyone else would proudly list every achievement. Ethan spoke as though none of it mattered. Suddenly, Martha called from behind them. There you are. She had arrived in another small electric tricycle carrying several baskets. I brought lunch. You've both been out all morning. She spread a simple picnic cloth beneath a large tree. The three of them sat together eating fresh bread, fruit, and warm soup. While they ate, workers passed by. Every one of them greeted Martha respectfully. Good afternoon, Aunt Martha. Have you eaten? Yes. Good. Work safely. After they left, Ava quietly asked, Everyone seems to respect you. Martha laughed. We've lived here for many years. They're like family. Just then, one of the older workers hurried toward them. Boss Ethan, we've finished checking the south orchard. Everything is ready for tomorrow's inspection. Good. I'll come by this afternoon. The worker nodded before leaving. Ava looked at Ethan with growing curiosity. You seem very busy. There are many people depending on this farm. I don't want to disappoint them. His answer was simple. Yet Ava could hear the responsibility behind it. For the first time, she realized that Ethan was not only kind. People trusted him. They respected him, not because of fear, but because he treated everyone well. As the afternoon sun slowly lowered across the hills, they started driving back home. Halfway there, Ethan suddenly stopped the tricycle beside a quiet hill covered with wildflowers. What's wrong? Ava asked. Nothing. I just thought you'd like the view. She stepped down. The entire valley stretched below them. Golden fields, green orchards, blue lakes, small houses with smoke rising from their chimneys. It looked peaceful, almost perfect. Ava quietly stood beside Ethan. I never imagined a place like this existed. He looked toward the valley with a gentle smile. I used to leave for the city sometimes. But every time, I wanted to come back. She turned toward him. Why? Because home isn't about tall buildings. It's about the people waiting for you. His words settled deep inside her heart. Without realizing it, she smiled. Perhaps this peaceful village was slowly becoming her home too. Neither of them noticed that, far away on the main road leading into the village, a long line of expensive black cars had just appeared. Someone unexpected had finally come looking for the Chin family, and their peaceful days were about to change forever.
And that is where our story ends for today.